Hey everybody, this is Blue. How we doing tonight? Well, I'm doing a homebrew MERP game. And the reason why I'm doing a homebrew is that I have played most of the modules that I have. I got a couple new ones, yes, but I have played them so many times and all that. I need to change it up a little bit. Make some changes to good old MERP so that it's not the same story. Okay. And so I do a lot of overthinking and all this, and so I wanted to do some changes with the Nazgul, and I was always curious why weren't there other Nazguls and all that. And there are some nice creators who gave the perfect reasons why, but they were going off of Tolkien and something I disagreed with, because all of the men succumbed to the rings, right? The dwarves, they were affected, but they were not overwhelmed. No Hobbit rings and all that. And I'm changing that in my game. And so here's the big what ifs. What if a human was able to resist one of the rings of power? I mean, one of the issues with MERP, with Tolkien's writings, is, for every step forward that, the good side takes, then they take like 3 or 4 steps back. And a lot of MERP, Tolkien, is kind of like a grimdark. It's just like they can't catch a break. And I mentioned this in a previous video. So why couldn't there be a good side, a good story, a little piece of lore in which one of the Nazgul was able to resist the effects of that particular ring of power? You could take, like, let's see, his name was Ren the Unclean, if I remember right, and you could create a story in which, of course, this is Second Age, so Ren's dead, no matter what. But you can make the story where something happened while Ren had the ring on for a little bit, and it changed him. And with that change, he was able to resist the influence of that particular ring of power, and he took it off. He then would have a little bit longer life because he did have that ring affect him a wee bit, but he would die a hero, and Sauron would then have to take the ring back and find somebody else. So this would be a way to add a different NPC as a Nazgul. I thought that would be cool. And then I would like to see a dwarf Nazgul. They're saying that Sauron did not understand the dwarves very well, and that's why they didn't work. Well, none of the rings were designed for dwarves, humans, or hobbits. They were designed to take and dominate over the elves. And so, why not could there been a dwarf lord that actually did succumb to the rings, because maybe he had a little bit of a darker past, something was bothering him, or he was just had not that great of a resistance to the effects of the ring. And so we could have a dwarven Nazgul. And so what would a dwarven Nazgul do? And so I'm thinking, well, he would be happier building things. He's a craftsman, like most dwarves are. And so why not have him set up a shop, maybe in Dol Guldur, somewhere in Mordor, where he is building, crafting weapons, armors, and all that for the forces of evil. it would be an interesting thing to say that the mortal blades that the human Nazguls use were created by this particular dwarven Nazgul and all that. Maybe he can make some weird armors and all that for others. And I think that would be pretty awesome. Because in the story, Sauron, he's not as strong now. He can't really afford to make anything, and bond with it. So then he could have his dwarven Nazgul make some wicked weapons. Okay, so I thought that would be a good idea. And so I'm going to take a D5 and, I do have D10 divided by 2. And then I'm going to select a particular dwarf that succumbs to that particular ring of power. And then the hobbits. I would want to see a hobbit Nazgul. And so I was thinking about that. And I was thinking, okay, well, what did the ruling ring do to Gollum? Because I think that's the best example. Gollum was a murdering bastard, wasn't he? I mean, he killed his cousin just, within the first few minutes of seeing the ring, being near the ring. And the rings were meant to strengthen, improve your abilities. Well, if you remember right, while Gollum was in the Misty Mountains, he was living in those lower caves, he was eating fish, but he was also killing and eating orcs. And so a hobbit is small, stealthy, and a murdering bastard. Well, what does that sound like? An assassin. And so you could have the human Nazgul leading battles and all that. The dwarven Nazgul, in the smiths and building things. And then you can have a couple, one or two, hobbit Nazgul that go and kill. They are small, stealthy, and they could infiltrate a lot easier, especially, when you consider, they're ethereal and all that. So they could hide very well. And then they could kill somebody with the mortal blade. And so I think that a hobbit Nazgul would be awesome. And this would then, it adds to the grimdark, but you can only have one or two of the fallen hobbits as hobbit Nazguls. So I'd like to know what you think of this idea, or would you think that a hobbit Nazgul would have different attributes? To me, because of their stealth abilities, the idea of a assassin hobbit Nazgul sounds cool. So please put your comments down below, and everybody please take care and be at peace.